Developed and published by Bethesda Games for the personal computer Sony PlayStation 3 on Microsoft Xbox 360 was Fallout 3. The game was the first to be created by Bethesda following the bankruptcy of Interplay Entertainment, which was the previous company to have developed Fallout games, and the latter actually created the franchise. As Fallout 3 completely reimagined the franchise as it was critically praised by both gamers and critics. One of the most infamous vaults depicted in the game was that of Vault 108, which were filled with clones of the non-player character of Gary. Due to the bizarre circumstances of the vault, it easily stood out among other vaults depicted in the game and left a lasting impression on those whom had entered it. An important detail mentioned by some theorists had it that it was one of the few vaults to successfully have cloning technology, which accounts for the multiple clones of Gary within it as depicted. As theories further had it, due to the prerequisites of the vault, the cloning of the original Gary occurred to help keep the workforce of the vault in working, functional condition. But the clones of the clones decayed, and eventually they overwhelmed all others within the vault until only they were within it. When the player entered the vault, the Garys attacked without mercy, leaving the player no other choice but to essentially kill them all. What was also noticeable were the details that the Gary clones would or could only speak the name of Gary. Players have theorized that the clones created their own language, using the word in every conceivable pitch, tone, and expression. Internet speculation further expanded upon this particular concept, with the Gary-based language being called a typical global aphasia, where the most well-known case in the study of this particular disorder is that of Tan, a patient previously known as Louis Victor Lebrun. When he turned 30 years of age, he lost the ability to speak normally and could only communicate uttering a single syllable. Tan, hence his nickname. He was discovered by the pioneering psychologist Pierre-Paul Broca, credited with discovering Broca's area, or the language center of the brain, in human beings. He discovered it because he had found damage in this particular area of Tan's brain. With this in mind, it's entirely possible that the Gary clones could have had the same damage in this region of the brain. This would lead to severe damage to language comprehension or expression, and even speech difficulties, and possibly a comparable case study to that of patient Tan. But here, there will be many patient Garys. More internet speculation had it that due to the cloning experiments within Vault 108, it started far before the original Vault employee Gary was subjected to during the experiments, and that this incident occurred prior to or during the Great War. Also, since it was the most deteriorated Vault in the game, on their decayed mental states, it was a matter of debate as to how the Gary clones could continue to exist, or some have suggested that it was a sort of full-measured copying method, as the vaults were in such a state that the Garys couldn't technically operate any of the technology or machines within the vault in a fully mounted, technologically ready and measured state. The theory were that the Garys found a way of reproduction, due in part connecting with the decayed mental capacity, that the Garys could have easily changed their biological functions to survive and continue to reproduce in that type of cloning, as the theory suggests. Even after the game's release, Vault 108 and Gary were mentioned by Bethesda a number of times, as even they realized that the Vault and the concept of Gary had a sort of appeal in a bizarre way to the Fallout player base. Sometimes a character can be forgotten because the circumstances for a non-playing character were so bizarre and unexplained that the people made up their own explanations for them.